Hey everybody, welcome back. Grognard's Corner, sitting here looking at Little Round Top from Avalon Hill, released 1979. Yes, I know some of you out there are probably looking at that going, that's the game the 20th main. Yes, OSG did originally release this as the 20th main. Avalon Hill snatched it up and reprinted it under their own publication. Avalon Hill did that kind of a lot in the late 70s and early 80s. So basically the same game. For as far as I can tell, there wasn't very many changes between the two systems. I'll go ahead and just do a little battlefield overview. And I do want to remind people that this really isn't a how it's played or how to play or, a rules overview of the system. This is just, me, my usual clever self, just sit down playing, throwing dice. I will probably explain some rules as the game goes on, but if you want to get a good in-depth view of how to play this game, this ain't the video. This is just me playing against myself, being an idiot and throwing dice at myself. But it should give you a good idea how the game plays. Anyway, so we're looking at Little Round Top, July 3rd, 1863. Oh my God, I'm such a moron for not remembering the exact date of this battle. We have Colonel Chamberlain's 20th Maine arrayed up on Little Round Top. And over here we have elements of the 83rd Pennsylvania. The rest of the 83rd Pennsylvania Regiment was actually strung out off map this way, so we don't really see it. The only other Union forces to note is when Colonel Chamberlain set up on Little Round Top, he sent his B Company to his extreme flank, and they were joined by units of 2nd Sharpshooters from the elements of the Union forces that were on Little Big Top that had been overrun by Confederate forces earlier in the day, and Little Big Top is off down this way. As far as the Confederate forces, we got elements of the 4th Alabama on right now. Again, the 4th Alabama, majority of the formation was off the side, engaging the rest of the 83rd. They have a restriction that they cannot move past, I believe it's this hex row. It's one of the hex rows they cannot move east of, and if they do, it gives the Union a bunch of victory points. The other two formations that were involved in the battle, the 15th Alabama and the 4th Alabama, 47th. Come on the board from off-map movement. They actually come in from down here. The 47th Alabama actually enters here, and the 15th Alabama actually enters here. 15th Alabama reserve. Their approach can be either on turn 3 or turn 5, depending on when the Confederates want to bring them on. If they come on turn 3, the couple of their companies are a little bit weaker. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold off until turn 5 to bring the 47th Alabama on. The 83rd Pennsylvania, sitting up here, holding this little line up here, has some reinforcements. They appear on turn 4, and other than that, I mean that's pretty much the setup. Yeah, that's I don't know what else we could say about that. So the Union forces, pretty much, they're on defense. That's basically the biggest thing. You score victory points for destroying enemy strength units. Each company, as if you can notice, each company has a number on it. That's their initial starting strength, 4, 3, 3, 4, 4. And they lose strength points as they take fire and melee combat and so on throughout the game. You get victory points for that. Victory points for controlling the Maltese crosses, which represents the entirety of Little Round Top. And again, bringing on reinforcements a little bit early can give and releasing movement. The 83rd Pennsylvania is also under the restrictions the 4th Alabama's under. They can't move west of a certain hex line either, and if they do, that gives the Confederates some points. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and start this. I will apologize. It's been, 30 years or so since I've played this. I haven't played this game since high school, and that was a long time ago. And honestly, I completely forgot how to play it, and realizing as I was reading through the rules that I wasn't playing it correctly the first time anyway, so whatever. So this is kind of new, fresh gameplay for me. So I'm sure the first few turns when going through the command point expenditures and then into combat and morale and stuff like that, it may get a little bit bumpy because I'll be going back to the rule book occasionally. So I just ask that y'all hang with me and give me a little bit of slack on that. And I just found a counter that had fallen off the table. E company. I don't think that company. Yeah, there's one company I think of the 47th that wasn't there at all. So let me see. It was an optional. I mean, it could have showed up, but it didn't. So. Oh, Company A of the 15th Alabama. Okay. So we are not playing with them entering the game. I think I already pulled them out of the counter mix. So actually 47th Alabama, so I'm going to have to figure out... Oh, boy. That throws everything off. Oh, well. I'll figure out something. Let me find a movement marker for them real quick. See, I wanted to have everything just set up all nice and neat, but, you know, life doesn't work out that way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start off. And the funny thing about this game is the Confederates are on the attack, but the Union goes first. There's a couple times, well, probably more than a couple times in this game where you just kind of have to scratch your head and go, huh? Whatever. I don't know. I have no excuse why they did it. I have no idea why they did it that way. Normally, if you're on the attack, you get to go first. But for some reason, in this game, Union goes first. Union, first turn, not doing jack over diddly. There's no use for any units to come out from behind their nice little protected walls. So we're going to go ahead and skip the Union phase. Well, not skip it, but the Union phase is done and step into the Confederate phase. So we got... no morale, so no disrupted units, everybody's in command. Now we got to spin command points. If you notice, commanders have got a number like this one, 20 and 4, and Chamberlain is 30 and 6. Basically, it's how many command points they have to move their units and what their range is. Check to see if all the units are in range, so 4th Alabama, 4 hex range, yeah, everybody's in range, and then the guys that are coming on off board obviously are within range. So we're going to go ahead and start moving, and basically I have to spend command points for each company to basically do something. The units are either in column or line formation. They don't have the counter on them. They're in line formation, but if they're in column formation, they have this neat little in column marker that you stick on them. Movement is real simple in this game. If you're in line formation, you have 4 hexes. If you're in column, you have 5 hexes. Line of sight is also really easy. 3 hexes. Period. That's all you can see. There is a little bit more rules for looking up and down hills, but yeah, for the most part, that's it. Each hex is approximately 20 meters, I believe, and each strength point represents 10 men. Get that out of the way real quick. So, Lieutenant Colonel Scruggs of the 4th Alabama, we're going to go ahead and start him. So, and it says you're supposed to do units in turn, but the way the command runs, I'm just going to go ahead, and since I'm playing against myself, so this is just for casual play, I'm going to go ahead and expend movement points as I move the guys, just so I can remember how much I've got, how much I've spent, and how much I've got left. So, for example, it costs in line formation, it costs 3 movement points to move a unit straight ahead. So we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to go 15, 18, 21, 27. Okay, now have command points of 20. If you issue the same command to 4 units that are adjacent to each other, then you get 6 extra points. So basically, I'm giving just basically column move forward, so to 4 more units that were adjacent to each other at the beginning. So that gives me 26. So we've got 3, 6. Let's see, 12, 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm making sure I do that right. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yes, it's that math. I was always bad at math. 19, 20, 21, because they moved there. So 22, 23, 24. We don't have enough command to get the B company up, so that's what that's their movement. And now, like I said, line of sight is just basically 3 hexes. So yeah, these 2 units can see there, they can see there, but we're still basically doing movement. So we're gonna not jump into fire combat real quick. We're going to go ahead and take a look at bringing in the 47th Alabama. And these guys are in column formation, so it only costs them 2 movement points to move ahead. And since they're in column formation, there's a little ambiguity in how the rules are written for units in column. Suffice to say, it's really vague, and nobody's really quite sure if it's by company, or since they're in column formation, if it's by hex. The rules give kind of a vague implication that it's by hex, but again, you know, a game that came out in 1979, you know, and not a very popular game at that, it's tough to get official rules adjudication on it. So I am going under the assumption that it is going to be by hex. So, and column formation is 2 movement or 2 command points. So, and since the Lieutenant Colonel Boulder of the 47th has got 25, he's issuing basically the same order to 4 adjacent units. So that'll give him 6 more, which will bring him up to 31. So we're going to go 1, 2, and there's that little in column formation. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if you want to change facing, you can do that for free. Doesn't cost anything. So we're going to go ahead. No, actually, we're not. We're not gonna kink off like that yet. So all right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These guys are going to take a face change. 15, 16. 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. All right, so that's basically now. So now you can kind of see why I am doing the command points and the movement the way I am, just because it's easier for me to mentally keep track of things that way. I'm sure there are other people who do it differently. That's just how I choose to do it. Okay, so basically movement's all done. Now we've got shooting. Guys in column formation, 47th Alabama obviously can't. But we do have some potential action up here with the 4th Alabama and the 83rd Pennsylvania. Now the range is 3 hexes, which is pretty much maximum range. Well, it's line of sight, so obviously maximum shooting range. But it halves our firepower. And basically our firepower is whatever our current strength is. Everybody's at full strength. So the 4th Alabama would be 3. Halve that to 1.5. Again, the rules don't clarify if you round up, round down. However, I'm going to go on the assumption that it's rounding down because most games of the era were written for rounding down. So that leaves him with 1 strength point. If he shot, he'd have basically a 1 in 6 chance of hitting. And if he hit, he'd also run out of ammunition. So at this point, it's not worth the 4th Alabama take a shot to possibly do 1 strength point damage to the 83rd Pennsylvania and run themselves out of ammunition. So they're not going to fire. However, Lieutenant Colonel Scruggs with C and D Company has got 6 points at a range of 3. Half down is 3, which really isn't that much better. I've got the same chance. I've got just barely a little bit better chances. So we don't want to run out of ammunition this early in the game. The game is 18 turns long. So the 4th Alabama is not going to be firing on the 83rd. And that's turn 1. We'll go ahead and jump into turn 2. Oh, I should probably note real quick, B Company of the 20th Maine and the 2nd Sharpshooters over here. Technically, they set up hidden placement, but since I'm playing against myself, what's the point? There, I'm going to know where they are, whether I put them on the field or if I don't, so we're not going to worry about it. All right, so turn 2. Union. Everybody's in command radius of each other because they haven't moved, and you know what? They really don't want to do anything. Yeah, they're happy. Defenders. All right, yay. Wait for the gray coat rebels to come towards us. All right, turn 2 of the Confederates. See, I used to get 2 or 3 games in this in a day just because it does run so fast. Kind of why I wanted to do the replay. All right, so turn 2, no reinforcements. So the 4th Alabama, again, 20 command points. He's going to be issuing move orders. Again, 4 units that are adjacent to each other. So he's going to get 26 command points. So we're going to go 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, so we actually like that. That gets all of us at 2 hex range, which is actually doesn't have our combat modifier. It just it's just normal, so we can actually probably start taking some good pot shots at each other right now. And now for the 47th Alabama. The Confederate plan that I've got in mind is, there are 2 ways that you can go about it. When the 47th pulls up and kind of hits the southern end of the line, tying up the Union forces, 15th Alabama comes in, sweeps around behind. That's not historically what they did. Basically, the 15th and 47th just went straight up the middle. So we're going to do that. We're going to go straight up the middle, but we're not going to do it. We're going to wait for the 15th to join us. We're going to get the 47th kind of in line, and then we're going to wait for the 15th to come up. So we're probably not going to be really pushing on Little Round Top until, turn 8 or 9. So we're just kind of maneuvering into position for right now. So we're going to remain in column formation. We want to stay out of rifle range, so we need to be at least 4 hexes away from the enemy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we kind of want to 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to kind of form up the line right back here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these guys will go 4. Move there, and they will shift facing. These guys, 5, 6, 7, 8, will turn, move forward, and then turn again. That's 8, 12, 16, 20, 22, 24. You got to remember he's got, where is he? He's got 25 plus 6 command points. He's basically got 31, and I've spent 24 so far. So now we've kind of got them in position where we want them, but we do not want to keep them in column formation. Crap. I just noticed officers have to spend 1 point for officers to move as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say that the points that he would have spent last turn for moving the officer up, combined with, not going to go back and retcon it. We're just going to go ahead and leave it good there. Just need to remember that. 1 command point to move an officer, 1 point. So next turn, we're probably going to be taking all those guys out of column formation. You know, part of me is thinking, well, you know, they're in column formation. The Union can try running, 20th Maine can try running down the hill and hit them when they're in column. No, that's probably not a good idea. So we're not going to do that. All right, so let's go back up to do fire combat up here with the 4th Alabama. And let's go ahead and get a little better look at what the situation is up here. If we can get it and focus in. There we go. There we go. All right, so basically what we're going to start off with is 4th Alabama is going to fire, E Company is going to fire at A Company, and 3 strength points. So they've got a fire strength of 3. It's basically a 1 or a 2 is going to do something. And so yeah, you're going to have to trust my what I'm saying, because I can't, well, I suppose I get now that'll, okay, so we're just going to roll this off board. 4, nothing. All right, so we're going to go 3 and 6 from C and D Company. So that's going to be 6 points, which is good. However, they're firing across that stone wall, and I believe that modifies. Okay. Oh, move 1 column left if defending unit is fired on by an Indian Company 1 elevation lower. Okay, so there's that. 1 column right. Okay, defending unit is in column formation. They're not. Fired through any rear. Initiating melee. Volley. Okay, defending unit is fired on through an adjacent, which is 1 column to the left. So we've got 6. We're looking on the 6 column. Shifts it 1 to the left, which is the 4 to 5 column. So, and we get a 1, which is great, which is actually a 1 damage instead of a disruption, which is an actual casualty to, or you know what, I just realized I can't do that unless it's volley fire. Only the lead company, which is the company that's stacked on top, can fire unless I give them volley fire orders. So it's a 3, which makes it the 2 column, which is actually just a fired on company is disorganized. Flip the counter over. And unfortunately, since I rolled a 1, check for ammunition supply. So let's go ahead and check the ammunition supply rules real quick. Okay. Vary slightly from regiment to regiment. Okay, so we have to check the ammunition. Like I said, this is the first couple turns. We're going to be a little bit slow getting the exact rules down. All right, this is the 4th Alabama, and turns 1 through 12. Roll a 1 when resolving volley fire. Okay, so it was not volley fire, so they don't run out of ammunition. However, they did manage to disrupt. Was at B Company, so we flipped them over, and we also have a leader in there, so I believe we have to check officer casualty. Let's see. Disrupted combat never causes officer casualties. All right, so there is no officer casualty there. And so then 3rd Alabama, A Company is in the lead. It is going to go ahead and fire for 3 points. It is not going to be modified for elevation or the wall, so that's going to be a straight up 3 column. And we rolled a 5, which is nothing. All right, so it actually is kind of pretty good. C Company managed to disorganize the 83rd Pennsylvania, or the B Company of 83rd Pennsylvania. So that's all. That's all the Confederate, the rebel fire. Because everybody down here is in column and can't see anything, so we don't have to worry about that. And that basically ends turn 2. Rambled on long enough. It's about 25 minutes, so I think getting 2 turns in is pretty good. Hopefully, as the video progresses and I get a little bit better and more proficient with the turns, we can do probably more turns during each video shoot. But I wanted to get this one out real quick because I know I kind of teased about a week and a half ago that I was going to be playing this. So there we go. First 2 turns, the first 40 minutes of the Battle for Little Round Top, and I guess I will talk to everybody later. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. Hey, we're almost up to 200 subscribers. I love it. Again, want to give big props to Kevin over at Big Board Gaming for exposing me to his viewing audience. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It is what it is, and I appreciate it. All right, everybody, I'll talk at you later. See ya!